And here we are, Dr. Mark Vaughn and
Dr. Dwayne Vaughn.
live on
Still.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's what we do.
So we haven't been doing this for like 2 weeks.
We missed 2
Although
weeks.
there were videos. People may not have seen the videos, but there were videos. One of them was the trip across the country.
Where you missed Utah.
We missed Utah. Went right through
On
it.
purpose.
No stop. So some of you may have seen that. And then the other video was not on the Auburn Medical Group channel. It was on my personal channel,
That's
which
right.
many of our regulars are subscribed to that anyway.
Yes.
Where we
You got a motel review,
motel review.
which
It's
looked like it was fun.
It's like a nightmare motel review. So yeah, if you want to see that, it's on the Mark Vaughn channel. Yeah, that some of you
Maybe
may have-
that's what I should do. Open up my own channel and just
do motel reviews.
Motel reviews.
horrible motels.
There you go. Comment below. Do you want me to start?
Yeah. So some people probably saw that. And then, so it's been 2 weeks. And then, well, very busy with our other projects. You with Dr. Green Knight blog.
Yeah, that's been still going. I had returned to my normal, I guess, schedule where I have the certain way I do it about every week a month. The 4 weeks out of a month, I have a certain thing I do each week. But things changed.
Things changed.
Things changed. So,
All right.
so this most recent one is actually what today's show is based on, and that is closing down,
ReClosing.
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 Yeah,
Yeah, it's happened in our county effective today. Is that right? That we go back
I
to
believe today,
stage
yeah.
2. So what's being closed? Churches and barbershops and dentist's office?
I don't think they were on the list, but I would imagine they would probably qualify
Well, I don't
for
want
that.
to say if they're not on the list.
There were already a bunch that had already scaled back, and they said they shouldn't do any indoor activity.
No indoor restaurant, no bars.
Restaurants, bars, wine tasting venues, sports.
Yeah.
I don't know the
Yeah,
complete
there
list.
was a list. So, and the reason is because we had over 100,000 new cases in the last
Yes.
14 days per 100,000 residents.
Yes, and that's in our county, and the state has set forth some certain guidelines that they say if you hit these benchmarks,
Yeah.
bad benchmarks, then you will need to reclose, essentially. Yeah.
Thus us being as distanced as this is much distance as we can get between us and do the show with us both on.
Yep.
As you can see, like our shoulders
I'm half off.
are off the screen because we are doing what we can to be apart.
You got my good side.
Yeah, good.
Set
Not like
up,
when we were
work
outside
out.
though. Then we really were.
We
6
were good
feet.
then. Yeah,
and
yeah.
outside too.
is
That
good.
was good. It
Yeah.
just took all day to set it up. So
Yeah. So while we're starting out, just with some shout outs to all of our channel members: Rusty,
Absolutely.
Bernard,
Rusty.
Bianca, Laura Spurs, Teresa Roat. Thank you. Thank you
Teresa,
for joining us. And
Bianca,
and Laura,
Laura.
saying that happened in her county too. So
Yeah.
in California, it's a lot. It's
well, yeah.
30 of the. How many counties do we have?
I don't know how many there are
50?
total.
I don't know.
But not
30
only
counties,
counties
I believe.
in California, but counties all across the country. Although I'm not sure what's going on with Disney
Florida?
World. Yeah, really.
Jeez, Florida.
15,000 in a single day. They're like competing to be
With countries.
one of the nations
Yeah.
on the
Crazy.
list of
Oh my
most
goodness.
cases in
That
a
is
day.
not the place you want to go.
Wow.
So if you have Disney World plans, cancel them.
Yeah.
Please do not go there. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to get there.
Right. Right.
Well, even if things are really cool once you get inside, you still have to go through Florida to get
So
to
whereas Disney World may be the happiest place in the world,
But
the
not-
surrounding areas
it. Not looking too hot.
not so much.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So should we real quickly go over? There's more cases because there's more testing. Should we?
Yeah.
hit
So
that?
that's a lot of one of the big responses. Oh, we're having more cases because there's more testing. But please elaborate on that. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, that's right. You test more.
The answer is yes.
You get more positives.
But
That is
there
correct.
are
But our county is being shut down not because of more cases, but more positives per 100,000 people in the county. We're also looking at, although it didn't meet the criteria, but we're seeing our numbers in the hospital
Yep. And
go up.
ICU beds available is another one.
People don't end up in the hospital, and they don't end up beyond just being in the hospital, being in ICU just because of testing. No, it's because they're actually sick. So that is why.
Right.
Thankfully, we right here are not seeing deaths go up, and I'm really happy about that.
Right. That is an exciting one.
And of course, people would point to that and say, well, maybe it's not as serious. Well, it's still serious.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have reasons for the deaths not going up. Some of the reasons would be, okay, what are some reasons? One would be some treatments. Another one would be we actually know how to use the ventilators and high flow oxygen,
right,
which they had to learn in New York, and thankfully they did, so that we don't have to make the mistakes they did there in how to treat this. Treatments, remdesivir, Decadron.
Yes.
We're still kind of looking at hydroxychloroquine, looking at it again.
Again, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Now that we've seen that study done at Henry Ford in Detroit.
Which you should definitely check out, the Dr. Vaughn's Daily COVID Updates.
Oh, the podcast, yes.
Podcast for that one, and you go over that one in
Thank you.
great detail. That was a very good review of that.
Yeah,
so.
Henry Ford, they had over 2,500 patients, and they found that those that were treated with hydroxychloroquine did better than those who weren't. They also did better than those who were treated with azithromycin or azithromycin combined with hydroxychloroquine. So hydroxychloroquine alone. And the thing that was unique about this study was they treated them early in hospitalization, like within the first 24 hours in 80-some%, and within the first 48 hours in over 90%. And that's when they really got a difference for the good. Oh, also, this is important. They screened them with EKGs before treating them with hydroxychloroquine.
Yes.
And they were able to see, if you do an EKG, you can see if somebody's in danger of having the bad effect, or at higher risk of having the bad effect of hydroxychloroquine. It has a bad effect on heart rhythm. And so if you see the EKG first, you can know, oh, this person's probably a pretty good risk. Let's go ahead and give it to them. So that gives you much freedom in giving it to patients as they come in the hospital without as much concern about it hurting them.
Yeah.
Which is what an earlier study with over 90,000 participants in several countries found people were having arrhythmias, and actually more people were dying who were treated with it than those who weren't. Also, we don't know how early in treatment they got it.
Right.
May not have been until they were really sick they even got the hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
So here's the reason for early treatment. They think that there's some kind of an inflammatory cascade that occurs at kind of a point in the illness. You kind of cross this line. And so getting it before then is thought to have an effect that you don't have if you give it later in the course of the illness.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had a lot I wanted to get out on that.
So back to one of the other reasons why we're having less deaths is younger people are getting this.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yes.
So
old people are staying put.
Yeah, old people are actually they're appropriately staying inside and avoiding crowded areas. They're staying away. So we're seeing a lot of younger people. I think the highest rates were in the age 30 to 59. Which in our county is more than half of the cases, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
like 60%.
And they don't die at as high of a rate, which is good. But that means they're still getting it and could be transferring it to other people. We're not seeing as big of a transfer to older people, but
interestingly,
still,
in those younger age groups, as far as the percentage of how many people are was it getting it or dying from it? I'm trying to remember now. I think it was who was dying from it. Yes, it was who's dying from it. More of the younger people are dying from it in minority groups.
Yes.
Non-white and what was the other group? They divided up into non-white and I don't remember. Do you remember what I said?
Hispanic, I think you said, or is
it
that
may
in
have
the
been
non-white category?
I think it was Hispanic and then non-white and then
right.
White.
Yeah. So another health equity issue that we deal with in medicine.
And what we're thinking is because the younger people are more not able to stay home from work.
Yeah.
Because minorities more often have those jobs where they're exposed more.
Where they need to go in and actually do the job. It's a physical labor job. Yeah.
They can't just do their job from their home. They have to go into manufacturing or service.
Yep.
And more so that hits minorities.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, let's got some comments here. Life on 10, hey, commented.
Oh, are they watching?
Our friends. Yeah, by the way, go
Angela
over
and
check
Vanessa?
out their YouTube channel, Life on 10.
Real easy to find because if you go to the Auburn Medical Group page, it's actually a featured channel over on the side.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
So once you're done here, go check them out. But they're saying they're sorry to hear that we have to close down again, and they wish our communities would have taken this a little more seriously, so that we didn't have to do that. Yes.
Dr. Walker has been
fully.
saying that and saying that and saying that, and
And while we're, primary care doctors who got our first case in our office last week.
Was it last week?
I think it was last week.
Yeah.
She's seeing it all the time. Dr. Walker is an ICU doctor.
She's
so
actually
she
intubating
she is the
people
one
who
who is taking care of the sickest of these sick COVID patients. And she has been preaching this, and I really appreciate her channel and all that they've been doing to try to get out the word. But take her word for it. I mean, we've been saying this the whole time from what we have been learning from people like her and those who are on the front lines doing all that work. So we do thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Dr. Walker.
So let's see here. Will Gwaine do his own show? Great question.
What? How did that get out? Did somebody see that?
No, I mentioned it earlier.
I totally should have.
I said I was going to do one on motel reviews.
Motel reviews. Was it Lonely from Ottawa?
No. Varsha. I don't know who Varsha is.
Dr. Gwaine has an admirer in Ottawa, apparently.
In Ottawa. So. Asking, is this a permanent closure? Well, right now the order in our county, at least, is for 3 weeks, and then it is yet to be determined beyond that. So at this point, we will see where it goes. If this works and we're able to get back those numbers back down, then maybe we can go back. But a big caveat there is we got to get those numbers down, and if we go back, we don't just want another takeoff of those numbers. So we've got to learn something from this. That's the big thing. We have to wear masks. We've got to not go out. We not gather in groups.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
It takes purposely not doing things you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It is. And it's sacrificial. I mean, that is probably a good description of it. You are sacrificing something in yourself to help out your community or help out those who are more vulnerable around you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, do you want the question of the day?
What is the question of the day?
I almost don't want to do it because
I don't even know what this is.
It's kind of disturbing, and we have to come up with a positive finish somehow. So only take positive comments after I say this.
Okay, so start sending in your positive comments.
I've been looking at.
I don't even know what you're going to talk here.
Well,
this is intriguing.
Been looking at the literature about immunity and antibody production and neutralizing antibodies.
Yep.
And there are some studies to suggest that there's a real problem with people staying immune to coronavirus, either other coronaviruses in the past that have been studied, or even this one, seeing declining or waning immunity, or we really don't know for sure immunity because all we've tested is antibodies.
Right.
And we've seen some anecdotal accounts from other countries of people having the disease, testing positive, getting over the symptoms, later testing negative, and then again having the symptoms and testing positive.
Specifically for COVID.
Yes, COVID-19.
Yes.
SARS-CoV-2.
Yes.
So we do know there's anecdotal accounts to it, but that doesn't mean that's a big scale thing. That's just one case or occasional cases. But the studies looking at the antibodies are starting to see these numbers really go down. Like at 60 days, 18% of the people don't even have the antibodies detectable anymore, or things like that. Here's the thought. What if we don't develop, for the most part, lasting immunity to this? What's going to be our future as a species?
Our end game. Boy, that is a difficult one to ponder. Yes, we've known for a while that coronaviruses can reinfect people, and this is a coronavirus. I mean, the coronavirus typically causes the normal cold, and colds, you just got to get over them and move on. So you build up this immune response and get it out of your system. Typically, you don't get re-exposed to that. It does happen sometimes. Like those families that just keep giving it to each other and keeps going around. You can just get it 3 or 4 times. If that is the case, we would need to have a full-on assault, meaning vaccination, at the same time. I think that would be the only way that we would be able to get through this. Not a graded vaccination where we grade everybody over the course of months to years, we would need to get everybody vaccinated. Just line them up. That way, everybody gets vaccinated, and then we mount a big enough immune response so that and all at the same time, so that we're able to not give it to each other. So that I think that
So you're talking a strategy to totally get rid of a reservoir.
That is, yeah.
But if there's an animal reservoir,
kill all the animals. No, just kidding.
So vaccines play in heavily if that is an.
I think that's your only out if that's the case. But I don't see that it. I mean, what you're saying, it sounds like only case studies where this has happened, which is a minority, a small account. So I definitely don't want our viewers to think that this is our future, because I do think that for the most part, people are going to develop a big enough response that will last long enough so that enough people can get enough.
And that's why I kind of hesitate
antibodies.
to bring it up, because I don't want to be a doom and gloom, coming up with the worst, most salacious thing just to raise the numbers of our views. But it is kind of an interesting thing to talk about too.
Yeah.
So
this is the first time I heard about this, so I'm
thinking
on the fly here.
I didn't tell him ahead of time.
You sandbagged me.
Well, you knew something was coming because I was rubbing my hands together.
How do you prepare for that? Oh, by the way, I'm going to tell you some scenario that there's no good outcome from. Go.
Well, see, I set you up for it by showing you the message from your admirer first.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that.
So that you wouldn't say no.
Oh man, yeah, you would have had an empty chair here.
So the empty chair. I'll just keep talking to the empty chair
and talk to the empty
and
chair.
that piece of plastic in front of us. Like on camera.
Man.
So go ahead and see if I don't want to end on a down note.
Yeah. So Gibby's wife says this may be the new normal. Yeah, it may be. Hopefully we get in a scenario where the new normal is something that people take seriously.
But we can't. I think we can't go on forever living like this with the distancing and the masks.
No, and there, I think there would be crazy psychological harm to our species, which would really mess things up. Yeah. Anyways, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Yeah.
We can still
joke,
joke though.
They don't have enough PPE.
What?
We'll still be here 6 feet apart. You'll be at home because you can't go out because it's essentially the end of the world watching us. It'll be great.
You get to watch us. Look at the good side.
Look on the good side.
You can still watch us.
Oh, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
Next people that get it will be the 4th of July partiers.
Yes.
It's almost been 2 weeks.
But 4th of July is a thing you do outside.
Yeah, so that
shouldn't be as bad
may be mitigated to a certain extent because of that. And all of the really big, at least here around us, all of the big fireworks displays where people gather in stands, all of those were canceled.
Yeah.
So I think everything was like, let's go over to a friend's house, like smaller groupings, and typically outside, you're barbecuing, Yes, I did meet with family on the 4th of July. Thus far, I've been all right.
I'm trying to think how many people did I have contact with on 4th of July.
It was one of those where...
There are 3 of us.
It was, yeah.
Oh, no. We actually did visit some friends, but we stayed 6 feet away and we were outdoor the whole time.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good. Yeah. We were outdoors most of the time, too.
Yeah.
So, did the best we could.
All right.
Yeah. People talking about PPE, saying that it's getting low again.
Testing backing up. That's something that
do we need to talk about that, man?
Yeah.
This was a big, not controversy, because it's not a controversy. It's a big issue that we had to deal with today, and thankfully you were able to find some outs of that. But
it's partial.
Yeah, partial. So we got informed from our 2 main places we've been doing COVID testing that their results were not going to be available for 10 to 14 days. Now, is that even helpful? I'm going to test you. You come into my office. I'm going to swab you, and I'll send that off. And 10 to 14 days from now, you may figure this out. By then, you're either going to be in the hospital, and we'll know for sure because they can test and turn it around in 24 hours, or you're going to be better and have infected your friends. So
I was going to say, all your family and friends will already have their symptoms.
It's not helpful at all. So that was the news of Monday coming in, and I was just like, I'm just not going to test people. I'm just going to tell them to stay home and isolate. And then thankfully we got some better news that we could get a turnaround in about, what was it, 2 days.
Well, it's only
So-
one of the labs that we go to.
Yeah.
Not all the insurances are contracted
So,
with that lab.
whew, yeah.
So it's not for
I'm just going to
everybody.
tell people, hey, fork out the money. Actually, they're not supposed to be charged anyways, right? Doesn't matter where you do the lab test?
Oh, now that's interesting.
Because isn't that a
But if we
one-
sent
isn't
somebody
that
not
part of the
contracted with
federal
that lab, would they
anyways?
even run it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's between the
We're gonna have
patient
to
and the
we're gonna have
lab
to
there.
figure that out. But
Yeah.
2 days is much more useful, and we can actually,
I keep pointing toward the lab. It's over
which
there.
is what way? That way. There's another lab that way, and another one that way.
Yep. We're surrounded by labs. We're in the medical district.
Yeah. Let's see here. Life on 10. I got to read hers.
Oh, Life on 10.
A complete societal lockdown and vaccination protocol, so the only people allowed out of their homes are vaccinated people during the quarantine period.
Oh,
Ooh.
please. Oh,
Wow.
Dr. Walker, do you know what
Look
bag
at
of
that.
worms you're opening up with?
So go
Oh,
over to
boy.
their channel.
Yeah, leave the comments.
Leave your comments on
It's Life on 10. Put your flame comments on her channel
yeah.
for that
Fire.
That's what we have to talk about, though.
It's true.
If it got to that. If
So let's talk a little bit about.
Are we really going to talk about that?
No, I want to talk about a precedent here, and we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about mentioned this before, but back in 1904, I believe it was, back when they were vaccinating for
In San Francisco.
Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. I'm sorry.
Massachusetts, polio, I believe it was that? No, that came later. Polio was later.
Smallpox.
Smallpox. So there was a mandated vaccination by the state in Massachusetts to be vaccinated by smallpox. It's because they were trying to get everybody vaccinated. There was a gentleman who refused, and so he was fined because that was the punishment at that time for not doing it. I think it was $15. But it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court ruled that in times like this, that the state can actually overrule personal liberty for the sake of public health.
And kind of what we described earlier was a situation that would lead to that.
Yeah.
If that's really
Right.
what it took
Yeah.
to knock this out.
So there is precedent for it. Just so you know. I mean,
It could get ugly.
it would get ugly. I mean, there's no. It could. It would if there
in
were
some parts,
a.
yeah.
Yeah. So part of my post today, which you should definitely check out, is stating that I think one of the only ways out of this is a vaccine, but it would really only work if enough people did it.
That's the thing.
We need to get what's called herd immunity, which I've heard varying numbers on this, but I've heard the lowest being 60%, I believe, or maybe even 40%, depending on what the community rates are.
Maybe a combination of vaccine and social distancing.
that could do it.
And revaccinating those who are willing to do it
Right. Yeah.
in 3 months or whatever.
Right. So we will see.
Depends.
The vaccination realistically isn't going to be around until next year. So we will see.
Yeah.
So there you go. Little tidbit for today. Oh, speaking of history, if you enjoyed that little nugget of history,
good. I'm glad you remembered. I put the link in.
did you?
The link's down there.
There is a group of a duo of two guys. We've been both listening to this who just started a podcast. Juniors in high school, actually just finished going to be seniors in high school who are doing a podcast on presidential history. So completely off of, if you like medical stuff and us, great. But this is something that one of these guys is actually my nephew. So I that's why I'm promoting this. It is wonderful. It is just a great podcast. They talk about, the first season was President Nixon, and their goal is to rank all of the presidents. So it was great. I really enjoyed it. A little bit of production stuff, but if you can get past that.
We're all about nephew nepotism here.
Yeah. I mean, I got a job here, so I might as well pass that on to my nephew. So check it out. It's called A Presidential Podcast. If you like podcasts, check it out. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, a little production hiccups early on. You can get past it. You can still hear it. And,
anyways.
Yeah, but I actually gave it a 5-star review.
I did too.
And
Apple Podcast, it's got a 5-star.
I enjoyed it. I learned from it.
Me too.
I was surprised at how sharp these high school students
I mean,
are.
they're talking like
They know their
historians
history.
here. They're very good, and they're very well read. Even as high schoolers,
They're going
talking
somewhere.
about at least Nixon. So, and I won't give away what their next president is because that's in the podcast. Check it out. Anyways, just a little bit of a shout out there.
Since
We
I'm a
appreciate
patron,
it.
I know what happened with the next one, and it's not quite what they said it was going to be.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
they changed it fairly.
All right. Well, they've got a Patreon too, which brings us to our Patreons. Look at this. I'm like flowing through this.
This
like,
is great. You're on
like
a
I
roll.
actually know what I'm doing here. So my transitions
Is there a
are
teleprompter
my
somewhere?
transitions are on fire. Killing it. Anyways,
Dr. Gawain.
we do want to thank those. Go over, check out Dr. Green Knight. I do want to thank my Patreons, Teresa Rutt and Boo Boo Kitty. Thank you. You guys make it happen. Appreciate it.
And also Boo Boo Kitty and Lindsay Antwine. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys
And in
make
fact,
this
Lindsay
happen.
Antwine was the one who gave me an article that led to one of the topics
Yeah.
of the Dr. Vaughn's COVID-19 Updates podcast.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us
Yeah, appreciate it.
and for comments.
And for wearing your mask when you go out and avoiding going out
Please,
if you
please.
only when you need to.
Yes. Only you can prevent
COVID?
COVID-19. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be
Smokey
something else.
would be proud.
Until next time,
I'm Dr. Gwen Vaughn.
Dr. Mark Vaughn telling you to stay in good health.